Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's another video. Thank you so much for liking and sharing my videos. Also in October again, it is ADHD awareness month, and I'm also just doing my governmental role. I'm also just doing my part as a health professional to say, let us spread awareness about what is ADHD. So attention hyperdeficit disorder. I once had a joke that was preached by someone who said, if the Holy Spirit the Holy Spirit causes you to jump around but doesn't cause you to live a holy life, you don't have the Holy Spirit, you have ADHD. Okay, but anyway, today's is okuluma about ADHD. What is it? It's one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorder. What does that mean? It means that something happens to your brain and it happens during the developmental period, meaning that it's normally diagnosed at a young age and it carries on till you are like an adult. So children with ADHD may have difficulty with paying attention, controlling impulsive behaviors, and they may act without thinking, guys. They may act without thinking what the results are going to be, and that is what, in a nutshell, ADHD is. There are various types, and I'm going to talk about the signs and the symptoms. So it is normal for all children to not focus and behave, in a way that we do not as parents agree. That does not mean that every child has ADHD, but children who've got ADHD do not grow out of these, signs and symptoms and these behaviors. So these symptoms continue to become severe and can cause difficulty in a school, in a home, and even with friends. So one of the other things that we need to know is that ADHD is not in one context. You don't diagnose ADHD based on one context. You have to know what is happening at school, what is happening at home, what is happening even when they are with friends. So friends, what are you gonna see for you to even suspect that the child may have ADHD? The child may daydream a lot. You're sitting there, you are talking to them, child is on cloud 9. They may forget or lose things, and like, these are some of the kids that parents would be like, Zipi Atulo Zako, where are your shoes? I forgot where I placed them in the playground. They may scream or fidget. So these are the kids that are going to be sitting in class and maybe like banging on the desk because they want that sensory stimulation. They may talk too much. I'm guilty. I always say that if I was a child growing up now, probably I would have been ADHD. They probably would have diagnosed me with ADHD. But then these children also make careless mistakes, man, or take unnecessary risks. They may have hard time resisting temptation. They have trouble taking turns, and they may also have difficulty getting along with others because, like we said, guys, turn taking is one of the things that we need in friendships because you can't be the only one talking, guys. I mean, so what are some of the things or what are some of the types of ADHD? Because it's not just ADHD, is also related to like autism. When I said last time, when I said autism is like a spectrum, with ADHD you get other children that are predominantly inattentive type. This is coming from the National Resource Center of ADHD, so that I'm not caught plagiarizing, guys. So you get those that are predominantly inattentive, meaning it's hard for this individual to organize and finish the task, to pay attention or follow instruction or conversation. This person is normally easily distracted and forget details of daily activity. So those are the ones who we say, when you look at them holistically, they are predominantly inattentive, and we'll use different checklists. The psychologist will use different checklists, and the doctor who's involved in diagnosing ADHD. And then you get another one who's predominantly hyperactive or impulsive. So this person fidgets and talks a lot. It's hard to sit still. These are your kids who are not sitting still, not like normal just drink Coke, because some kids cannot sit still in general, but you get others where it is almost, you feel like it's extreme. This child cannot sit down for like 2 minutes, guys. They cannot sit still. They cannot sit to do homework. Smaller children may run, jump, climb constantly. The individual feels a bit restless, and they have trouble with impulsivity. The person is just impulsive. It's difficult to just focus on one thing at a time, or in their brain tells them that they are competing priorities. So they may grab things from people and do what is inappropriate at time. It's hard for this person to wait for their turn in conversation, or even during play. You find that this child, instead of like giving the friend the scooter and take, they just want to grab. They cannot wait for them. Like even in snake and ladders, games like snake and ladders, you have to wait for their turn. So these are the children that you're gonna see struggle with those games. I'm a snake and ladders. Even games such as soccer, where you need to kick and then wait for your turn. So they may speak inappropriate at times. It is hard for them to even, some parents may say, they get to experience or to do things that are injurious, and you get these kids, most of them having injuries. And then some of them you get a combined presentation where the child is hyperactive or impulsive and both inattentive. So they have sessions where you find them, these types occurring. They are both equally present. So you find that they may daydream in class, and then you find them, then boom, bang, this child is now all of a sudden hyperactive. So these symptoms may change over time in the presentation with the child, and therefore it is important that when ADHD is diagnosed, that you do a detailed case history, you do observation, and you ask about different contexts. What are the causes of ADHD, guys? There are some that have been listed. Currently, scientists are still finding better ways to actually talk about ADHD and what causes it. I attended a conference maybe a month ago, and one of the findings there was that ADHD is also caused by screen time, where a lot of our kids are watching a lot of TV now, and that screen time also affects with the brain's ability to allow them to rest. So when there's that moment of shutting down and allowing the body to rest, that doesn't happen, and then this then becomes like a cycle, because if they are not resting, then they're gonna be restless. So and then it may exacerbate the ADHD. Some there's genetics. They found that what we have agreed on is that the cause is unknown, but there have been studies that have also shown that some of it is genetic. Genetics plays a huge role in having ADHD. Some of the studies have also found that brain injury may also result to ADHD. Environmental exposure, for instance, to some of the exposures such as lead when the mother is pregnant. That is why we always ask questions during cases through what happened to the mom, premature delivery, alcohol and tobacco during pregnancy, low birth weight. But you know what? Research is still discussing these things, but it was just one of those things where they've also said that poverty does contribute to ADHD. Parenting style, television, those are also some of the things that places children at risk. So how is ADHD diagnosed? I've hinted along. It takes several steps to diagnose ADHD. There's no one test that can be done. For instance, when you've got anxiety, you go do one test and they can see. But for this, it involves many other tests. We have to, in fact, rule out, because the child may not paying attention because they've got a hearing loss. They can't hear you. So with ADHD, you want to rule out other condition. It includes a checklist that, like I've hinted earlier, where we need to know what is happening in different contexts. That checklist would also be sent to the teacher if the child is at school. The parent would also have one, so that we can see, is it affecting different contexts. So if someone's saying, I have ADHD, but it only affects me in one context, it may not necessarily be ADHD. It might be that the child has stage fright or something of that nature, because ADHD should happen across one or more contexts for it to be diagnosed with ADHD. And then how do we manage the symptoms? There are also, first, we want to develop healthy eating, guys. Diet is quite important, and like sugary items actually exacerbate ADHD. So you want to be sure that the child is eating plenty of fruit, vegetable, whole grains, and you also want to limit the screen time, as I've also hinted. And at the same time, when I assess ADHD, because ADHD then causes or results in other problems, such as literacy related problems. So when I'm assessing a child, I'll assess the child and then see what is affected. Is it the attention? And then we're going to work on attention. Is it language that is now affected? Then I'm going to work on language. So please do get help for ADHD. Adults can have ADHD. Like I say, it gets diagnosed normally in childhood, but it carries on till adulthood. And normally with adults, we try to compensate for our ADHD, and therefore that is why we say that ADHD may look different as an adult than when you are a kid, because we learn coping mechanism. So if you are worried that your child might have ADHD, my recommendation would be get a referral and send a referral to a speech therapist, an OT, a psychologist is normally the one who's going to be assisting the diagnosis, and then as well as doctors. They may recommend medication or no medication, the famous one being Ritalin, and that medication just helps to regulate the child. But there are many studies that talk about when to use medication, when not to use medication, and all of that. This video is just to raise awareness of what ADHD is. So please do get assistance, and I thank you. Continue to like, share my videos, and I hope they are helping. I thank you. Bye.